Welcome to Doris's Golf Club. Oh, folks, we've got a lot to cover today. First of all, I want to let you know I'm recording this Sunday morning. The third day of the Ryder Cup is about to start. If you have been watching, I am sorry. I'm sorry you're watching. Well, if you're rooting for Team America, I assume you are as frustrated as I am. Oh my goodness. I was so excited to actually watch this year. This is the first year that I've ever been able to watch, like in real time, and know what's going on. And it has been the biggest debacle. The Americans are doing so poorly. So, okay, like I said, it is Sunday morning, and the Americans have 4.5 points. Europe has 11.5 points. And just to put that into perspective, if you don't know, in order to retain the cup, if you won the last time like Europe did, you need 14 points. Europe already has 11.5. So in order to win today, we have 12 singles matches going on today. So America needs to win 10 of those 12 singles matches in order to win the Ryder Cup, which is, virtually impossible. It has just been an embarrassment. Europe has been doing so well. There is no reason why America should be doing this poorly. I put not all the blame, most of the blame on Keegan Bradley. He's been driving me crazy all year. Just again, to put this into some perspective, if you don't know, 2 years ago, the Ryder Cup that was played in Rome, Keegan Bradley did not get chosen to play on that team. He was not a captain's pick. At that point, Zach Johnson was the Americans' captain. There was a lot of discussion about it being kind of a boys' club and his friends being the ones who were chosen to be on the team. Keegan Bradley was not chosen to play. And so then, I guess, a year ago or so, when it was announced that Keegan Bradley was going to be the captain this year of the American team. And I also, by the way, don't know how captains are chosen. I don't know who chooses them. It's not the other players. I don't know who it is, but Keegan Bradley was chosen to be the American team's captain. It could have, I think, been a really great thing, but then he also was playing pretty well this year. And so then, of course, the media all started saying, oh, Keegan, what if you actually qualify to be one of the participants on the Ryder Cup? Are you going to be a playing captain? Which, I don't know, very rarely happens. It should not ever happen, in my opinion, because to be the captain, you're having to put so much time and effort and focus into this. But I think Keegan got it in his head, oh, look at this. I'm in the spotlight. Oh, all this attention is on me. Oh, everybody thinks that maybe I should be playing. And coming from the previous Ryder Cup when he wasn't chosen, it was a big thing that he wasn't chosen. And so I think he loved all the attention. And so he was like, oh, no, I'm just going to be captain. But then later through the year, as he kept playing well, then he was like, well, I'll have to see how it goes. And so he was entertaining it this whole time rather than simply focusing on being captain. He loved all the attention. He loved it. And so I think throughout the entire year, his focus had only been on himself and just, I don't know. Keegan Bradley drives me crazy. So I put the blame mostly on Keegan Bradley. There are a lot of other issues here, but that's just some of the drama that comes with golf and with the Ryder Cup and with all of these different tournaments, men's and women's. This is why I like golf. Who knew that it could be so dramatic? Who knew that it could be watching like a reality show, which I love reality television. It's so much fun to have these things going on and kind of get out of yourself and get out of your real life and focus on someone else's drama for a change and not about all the serious stuff that's going on in our world. It's fun to just then watch the Ryder Cup and get all invested into, getting so mad at the European team, although there's a lot of players on the European team that I really like and a lot of players on the American team who I really don't like, but still, I'm rooting for the American team. And then to see them do so poorly, oh my goodness, it's so frustrating. Anyway, I have also enjoyed watching the Breakfast at Bethpage with Colin Jost. I have not gotten it up at 5 a.m. to watch, but I've watched on Peacock the next day. It's been pretty entertaining. Okay, but this morning they haven't yet started their match play event. They haven't started playing, but I don't know that I even want to watch. It's so depressing. Okay, but I'm going to talk to you all about some much more exciting things in the world of women's golf. Today, I am going to be talking about the Lotte Championship. I'm going to be previewing this tournament for you, which is the upcoming tournament, which will be played this upcoming weekend in Hawaii. And then after I preview that, I'm going to be doing, again, a segment, our countdown to the crown. I'm going to be talking about Team Korea, the home team. And then in a segment, I think I'm going to start calling the Clubhouse Corner. That's going to be my segment when I just kind of talk about any kind of random thing that I want. Maybe it will be about television. In this case, it will. But, anything that I've found about, golf that I've noticed or book recommendations or TV or just any kind of random thing, I'll talk about that at the end. So let me preview for you the Lotte Championship. This one sounds really interesting. So it is played at the Ho'okale Country Club in Oahu, Hawaii. So for those of you not familiar with Hawaii, we have our big four kind of main tourist islands of Hawaii. And Oahu, if you're going from east to west of the Hawaiian Islands, kind of the big four tourist islands, we have the Big Island of Hawaii, then we have Maui, then we have Oahu, and then we have Kauai. And Oahu is the island that has the city of Honolulu, and Honolulu is on the southern side of the island. And the beach where this country club is, this Ho'okale Country Club, where the Lotte Championship is being played, that is also on the southern side of Oahu, and it's just a little bit over to the west of where Honolulu is. So if you can picture that, that's where this tournament is being played. It's at a place called Ewa Beach, and this golf course looks pretty interesting. They described it as having 112 bunkers and 9 water features that reflect the clear blue skies. The pictures of this golf course, they really do look beautiful. It is fairly flat, of course, because, you have the island, which is basically just the volcanic rock that comes up. And then you have the fairly flat parts of the island around the beach. And so the golf course itself is fairly flat, but then there are some views where you, of course, see the mountain coming up in the background. But with those water features around, and so there are 9 water features, but the water does come into play on 13 of the 18 holes. And so looking at the course, there's tons of bunkers, 112 bunkers. So there's tons of sand, then there's the palm trees, and then with the water that does reflect that blue sky, it's really beautiful. And it does look very challenging with all of those bunkers. I think it's really going to be an interesting one to watch and see how it is played. Also, I don't know that I've noticed this when I've been reading the description of other golf courses, but this one talks about how from the back tees, it measures 7,413 yards. And from the regular tees, it measures 6,226 yards. So that is quite a significant difference depending on what tees you're playing. And in the description of each hole, it does have yardage from 5 different tee boxes. So they really do have quite a difference from hole to hole, what your yardage is going to be, depending on one of 5 different tee boxes. I'm used to seeing maybe 2 or 3 tee boxes on each hole at different golf courses, but 5 different tee boxes is really interesting and such a difference. Again, I'm not used to seeing that wide of a yardage spread in the golf courses that the women play. But one of the things that it was describing is that they said the course, when it was designed, the course was configured in conjunction with the trade winds, which means that it's a course that can play very different from day to day. So what I'm wondering is, I'm very curious when it's decided which tee they're playing and how exactly it's decided, depending on the weather. I didn't realize that it could be changed quite as significantly as it could be until I was listening to the chipping forecast. And Eddie Pepperell was talking about one of the tournaments he had played. And there was one day where the wind was so incredibly strong coming straight toward them that they had ended up moving their tee box all the way up to the front tee to play that day. And so I know that in different tournaments, they do move the tee box, not just moving the hole around from day to day, but they actually can move which tee box you're playing from. So I am curious, when that gets decided, who decides it. But yeah, in this course, they have 5 different tee boxes to choose from on every single hole. So I'll be interested to see if they talk about it. I'm going to be listening for that while I watch the tournament. And like I said, with all those bunkers with the water, I think it'll be fun to watch and see how they play. Last year's winner was Alim Kim from Korea. She won with 18 under. So it sounds like even though it could be potentially a challenging course with all those bunkers and water, it still is very doable if she had finished with 18 under. This was her second LPGA win, and so that was very good for Alim Kim last year. It is a $3 million purse, which is a good purse. And this is very important, especially this time of year. Up for grabs is 500 CME points. So we've talked about this. This is the race for the CME Championship. That is that tournament at the end of the year. It's coming up the end of November, where the top 60 women, based on their CME points for the year, get invited to this tournament, the end of the year tournament, and they get to play in that tournament for the huge end of year grand prize. Okay, so this is a really good field playing in this tournament. I think this is starting what they call the Asian swing, because basically they start here in Hawaii and then they have a bunch of tournaments there in Asia before they come back to the United States for that CME championship. So after this Lotte Championship in Hawaii, they go over and have the Buick LPGA Shanghai event on October 12th, the BMW Ladies Championship in Korea on October 19th. And then, of course, we know the International Crown is in that following weekend, starting October 23rd. The weekend then following the International Crown is the Maybank Championship in Malaysia, starting on November 2nd. And then the Toto Japan Classic starting on November 9th. Then they head back to Florida for the Annika tournament on November 16th, and then finally that CME Group Tour Championship on November 3rd. And that's that big kind of final end of the year championship with those final 60 women getting to participate. Okay, so it is really important, again, for all of these final tournaments for women to be playing, trying to get those final CME points, so that they, especially those who are right around 60 above and below 60 on the CME points, they want to stay in that top 60 so that they get invited to that big tournament. And again, there are some implications for even if you're, top 80, top 100. All right. So, like I said, it is going to be a really good field. We do have quite a few players from America who are going. So, of course, you all know Nelly Korda. We have Megan Kang, Allison Corpuz, Lindy Duncan, Andrea Lee, among others. And then we do have quite a few of our recent winners from this year who are participating. And just to name a few who I know that I have talked about recently, we have Brooke Henderson from Canada. She's going to be there. Somi Lee, of course, from Korea will be there. Charlie Hull, who just won the last tournament there. She's from England. She'll be there. And then Miyu Yamashita and Ryo Takeda, both from Japan. They'll be in the tournament. And our EY twins, Aki and Chisato, they're also from Japan. They'll be there. And then Alim Kim, our last year's champion of this tournament, she'll be there along with Hyoju Kim from Korea. And let's see, a few other notable people. And I'll be talking about these ladies later. Ingrid Lindblad and Madeline Sagström from Sweden. And so they have won tournaments this year, and I'll be talking about them next week in the preview for Team Sweden. So lots of winners from this year who will be joining this tournament. So it'll be good to see all of them participate. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll get a repeat winner finally. Maybe not. If we have a new winner, that should be our 26th different winner, which will tie the record. So we'll see. Oh my goodness. I think it makes it so interesting, so much fun to watch. All right, let's talk about the sponsor. Let's talk about Lotte. I had mentioned, I think, when I was talking about Hanwha and them as a company, as a corporation, I had talked about Lotte just a little bit being a Korean company. They are a Korean conglomerate. And okay, so this is a word that I have heard, of course, in watching Korean shows, Korean dramas. I don't know if I am pronouncing it correctly to say chaebol. It's spelled Chaebol. And here's the thing. If you've watched any of these Korean shows, you know what I'm talking about. So what this is, this word, chaebol, what it means is a company or a conglomerate that's run by an individual or a family, usually a family. And so it's a really big thing in South Korean dramas. And if you've watched any of these dramas, for us Americans, it may seem like they're too dramatic, like they're over the top, like, oh, this can't be real. They're making it more dramatic. Maybe it's based on some real life stuff, but they're making it even more dramatic. Trust me, if you just go read the Wikipedia pages for like the Lotte company and even for Hanwha, they'll talk about kind of the history of it, and then they'll go at the end, and there's usually a section about like, corruption scandals and embezzlement and bribery and this president of the company was indicted for bribery and was imprisoned or wasn't imprisoned, and what exactly happened and how it happened, and this family member did this and this family member wasn't indicted, and it reads like a script from one of these shows, and yet it's real life. It's these companies. It's what's happening. And so I'm getting the impression more and more that these Korean dramas are not necessarily over dramatizing what is going on, and that they are more based in factual happenings than I initially thought, which is very interesting to me. And I don't know, it's really fascinating. Okay, so Lotte is one of these South Korean conglomerates. It is the 5th largest eyeball in South Korea. And so this one was founded in 1948 by a Korean businessman in Japan, and it expanded, so Lotte expanded into Korea in 1967 with the establishment of Lotte Confectionery. See, I love candy. This made me very excited. So now Lotte Corporation consists of over 90 business units, and they employ 60,000 people. They have candy manufacturing, beverages, hotels, fast food, retail, financial services, IT, electronics, publishing, entertainment, construction, et cetera, et cetera. And they have businesses all over the world. They just have businesses in countries everywhere. So yeah, like I said, it was fascinating just reading about Lotte's history, about the history of a lot of their family members. And so I highly recommend, if you want a very interesting read, just go to the Wikipedia page about the Lotte Corporation and read all the way down to the bottom. And pretty interesting stuff. Okay, so let's talk about Team Korea. I'm so excited. Team Korea is going to be a fun one to watch. This is our home team, so I expect that they are going to be really rooted for. I expect that there are going to be tons of banners, tons of wonderful chants. I'm really excited to see how the crowds are for this Team Korea. So we have our 4 players based on the Rolex rankings, and they are Hyoju Kim, Haeron Yu, Haejin Choi, and Jin Young Ko. Those are our top 4 Korean women. So let's go down and talk about each in order of their Rolex rankings. So our 9th ranked Rolex woman in the world, Hyoju Kim. She is 30 years old. She joined the LPGA in 2015. She's also, so she's ninth in the Rolex ranking. She's seventh in the CME points this year. She has had 7 career wins, and one of them was a major. That was in 2014 when she won the Evian Championship. And her most recent tournament win was this year in 2025, and she won the Ford Championship. Now, you might recall Hyoju Kim was one of the women who played in that 5-person playoff at the Chevron Championship this year. She was one of the 5. And you might recall, if you can't remember all of the 5, you probably remember Hyoju Kim because she was the one who was late getting out to her golf cart to be taken back to play that final playoff hole. So as we were sitting there watching on the 18th green, also 5 different golf carts raced out there to pick up the women. 4 of them took all the women back to the start of the 18th hole to start playing, and 1 golf cart was still waiting there. And waiting, and we all started kind of looking around, and we're like, who's missing? Who's missing? Who are we waiting for? And then all of a sudden, Hyoju Kim runs out from somewhere. And we all just started laughing and clapping because she finally runs out. She jumps on her golf cart and takes her away. Her caddy's running behind her. It was so funny. And I can't remember what it was. I heard the report later. I think she was back resting, eating. I don't know what she was doing, but I don't know if she was paying attention at all. I don't know if she was even expecting to be at all in a playoff. I think she probably thought she was done. And so it was really funny to then see her just, oh my goodness, I'm playing. And so she ran out. So that's Hyoju Kim. She is really fun to watch. I enjoy watching Hyoju Kim in tournaments. And so she will definitely be a fun one to watch on this Korean team. Right. So next we have Haeron Yu. She is ranked number 13 in the world. She joined the LPGA in 2023, and she is 24 years old. Now, she's 18th in CME points this year. Okay, so Haeron Yu, she's amazing. She's had 3 career wins so far. And remember, she just won this year, was one of them, when she won the Black Desert Championship. And so that was the one. I mean, it's a beautiful course. It's the one that's right outside of Zion, and it has all that kind of lava rock. It's beautiful kind of red rock. If you've been out to Zion, you know, it's just that stunning red rock. And so she won that tournament. And I remember talking about it. I'm like, oh, of course, I should have called it, because Haeron Yu also is the player who her club head covers. She has one that is a green UFO head on one of her covers, and then another one that is like a silver UFO. And so those are her club head covers. I was like, oh, of course, out there at Zion and in the West. And that just all feels like, the place where aliens would be, and kind of that, that vibe out there. So of course she would have won that tournament. She also, I learned this, she has won 5 times on the Korean LPGA, the KLPGA, between 2019 and 2022. And she was named the KLPGA Rookie of the Year in 2020. So that's something I noticed. I talked about this with the Team Japan players, how so many of them had played and maybe still do play on the JLPGA. It's the same with the Korean players here. A lot of them are members of the KLPGA as well as being LPGA players. And so a lot of them have had, careers there before they came over to the LPGA. Some of them still play tournaments in both. It's really interesting. All right. So our next is Haejin Choi. Haejin Choi is ranked 17th in our Rolex rankings and 11th in CME points this year. Haejin Choi is 26 years old, and she joined the LPGA Tour in 2022. It's interesting to me that she's 11th in CME points, but she hasn't had any career wins with the LPGA. And so it's just very interesting how this all works. Again, I want to do a much deeper dive into all these things. So clearly, even though she hasn't been winning, she's been ranking well in order to be getting these points and to be ranked that highly in the CME points this year. So on the KLPGA, she did win 12 times on the KLPGA. Yeah, looking at her career highlights, I mean, she has, like last year, she was in 27 events and she made the cut 22 times. And she's placed, highly in a lot of the events, tied for third, tied for fifth, tied for fourth in some of these tournaments. And so, I mean, I guess you just get enough of those, even though you haven't actually won a tournament, and your CME points can be fairly high for the year. And then finally, Young Ko. She is ranked 19th in the world, and for CME points, she is ranked 31st. Jin Young Ko is 30 years old, and she joined the LPGA in 2018. Jin Young Ko has had 15 career wins, and of those, 2 have been majors. She won both of her majors in 2019, and that same year she was named Rolex Player of the Year. Jin Young Ko also has had 10 wins on the KLPGA Tour. It's also interesting, of the 4 women here on the team, 3 of them were in the 2023 International Crown. And so only Haeron Yu was not. And so 3 of them played together in 2023 on the International Crown. And so I think that that's really interesting. I think that they're going to have that absolutely to their advantage because they have worked together already, at least 3 out of the 4 of them. And I think that, they have a lot of depth in this team. Jin Young Ko's career, I was looking back at like the Rolex #1 world rankings through the years, and I want to talk with you guys about that at some point more in depth. But Jin Young Ko was ranked #1 in the world for quite a while, several years back. And I hadn't realized that about Jin Young Ko. I've seen her in tournaments, but I haven't necessarily seen her win. And I think when I see that, I've come to the LPGA, of course, just very recently. And so if I'm not seeing someone win now, maybe I'll see them kind of up there on the leaderboard, or I'll know who they are. I know who Jin Young Ko is, but I don't know their history of how well they have played in the past. So it's really fascinating to be learning more about each of these players and know their history and know their strengths and, again, their depth of experience. And so learning that about Jin Young Ko was really fascinating. And so I think, with her experience being around as long as she has been around, and I mean, Hyoju Kim, I did not realize that she's 30 years old and had started with the LPGA in 2015. She looks very young to me. When I've seen her out there, she just looks very young. And so I was really surprised when I saw that too. So both Hyoju Kim and Jin Young Ko have a long, long track record of playing with the LPGA. So I think that is going to be huge for the Korean team. And then you have Haejin Choi, who already has played in 1 international crown with the other 2 women. And then Haeron Yu. She is, of course, newer to the LPGA, but she is winning. Her 3 tournaments that she's won, she won 1 in 2023 when she joined the LPGA. She won 1 in 2024. And then she won a tournament this year in 2025. So she's just kind of had a consistent winning record. And so it's not like she started hot and then has faded. And so I think with her addition in here, Team Korea, yeah, they absolutely, I think, have the talent to be a team to watch. And I don't think we can discount them being the home team. I think that is going to play a very large part in how they do. We'll see. I'm going to be reporting back, of course, from over in Korea and telling you all how it's going. And I'll report back how the crowd is, how everyone's responding. And I assume that the Korean team is going to be responding well and interacting well with the fans and really pumped up with all of the, I assume, cheering and encouragement from their fans there at home. So definitely a team to watch. We'll see how that goes. Now that you've learned about Team Korea, I'm going to turn to my Clubhouse Corner, which, I love that I got to talk about Team Korea today because I get to talk more about Korean television. Any chance that I get to tell you all about Korean television, I'm happy to take it. I've been watching some really great shows. I have some recommendations. I would really love to hear back from people if you all have been watching. I feel like I'm the only one watching. And they're so good, and I want you all to enjoy them. And so please let me know if you have watched any, even if you don't like them. That's okay. Just let me know if you've watched them. I know I told you about Devil's Plan. I know I've told you about Crash Landing on You. I mean, such a great show. But let me tell you about a few others that I've been watching recently. Okay, a couple that I really think you'll like. They're both on Netflix, and they're both involving cooking and food. One is called Tastefully Yours. It is very cute. It is very funny. It is very well made. Like, the production value, of course, is spectacular. The acting is fabulous. The jokes, so good. I mean, it's just a really great show. And I think it is only 10 episodes, and I think that they are actually like an hour a piece. So you can get through it very quickly. It's not like some of the other shows where there's at least 16 episodes, and usually every episode is like hour, 20 minutes, hour and a half, which I love, but it just takes longer to get through. So Tastefully Yours, very, very good show, very fun. If you want something light, funny, fun, just put it on, try it. Try one episode. If you don't like it, you don't have to continue, but just try one episode. I bet you will love it. Continue. You can get through them. It's a great, great show. The other one that is so much fun, it's called Bon Appetit, Your Majesty. It's about a modern chef, of course, who goes back in time to the Joseon era, and she then is cooking for a king, and of course hijinks ensue. It's actually very good. I really like it. It's also very funny, and it's just it's a wonderful show. Both of these shows, oh my goodness, the way that they are depicting cooking and the food, and again, the production value on both is so good. Oh, it really makes me hungry every time I watch, and the food is so beautiful, and like the descriptions and everything, it's just, yeah, both of them are a ton of fun. So again, Tastefully Yours and Bon Appetit, Your Majesty. I highly recommend both. Try one episode of each. If you don't like it, that's fine, but just try. Oh, then let's see, what else? Oh my goodness. Okay, I tried this other one because the premise is really funny and great, and I don't know. Okay. It's called Heavenly Ever After. It's also on Netflix, and I will say on this one, I only got, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 episodes in. So it's a very funny premise. There's this older couple, this elderly couple, and he passes away first, and then his wife passes away. And when you go to heaven, you are asked what age you want your body to be. Like, what age do you want to be in heaven? And you can choose any age, and you get to choose once, and that's it. And then you're that age in heaven forever after. And so when she passes away, she chooses to stay the age that she is when she dies, which is like 80. And the reason she does that is because one of the last conversations she had had with her husband, it was so sweet, and they're talking about how much they love each other, and he tells her that she is the most beautiful now to him that she has ever been. More beautiful than when she was young, more beautiful than at any time in their marriage. She is the most beautiful now to him. And so she remembers this conversation. And so she says, I'm going to stay my current age. And they're like, are you sure? And she's like, yes. So of course, then she meets up with her husband. And he, of course, has decided to take his body as like a 20-something-year-old. And then, then it goes from there. And I'm not spoiling much because that's pretty early on. The thing is, I mean, that's a hilarious premise. And there are parts of the show that are so good. Like, it's a very good show. But the reason I don't know, I can't continue. I have found myself like bawling, like weeping, basically at some point in every single episode. And it's just too exhausting. I just can't do it. Like, they come up with these scenarios that like existential thoughts and like things that you just never, situations that you've never even thought about. And it's so crushing or so heartbreaking. And it's just too much. But, if you're ever in the mood for a good cry, put on Heavenly Ever After. You'll get some good laughs too. That's the thing. There's always comedy in these. Okay. So I don't necessarily recommend that one. I might have recommended this one before. If you do like the thought of like revenge and you really like that kind of not just holding a grudge, but actually really getting revenge on the people who have harmed you in the past, I really recommend that you watch The Glory. Oh, it is a good show. It is a really good show. It can be very hard to watch, but also really good. Like, the revenge that this woman gets on the people who have harmed her is so spectacular and so rewarding. It's a really good show. And there is this line that she says that I felt it like at my core. And so this line that she said, I love it so much. She said, I said I wanted this to be my personal motto. She said, I will be faithful to my rage and fury. I love it. I love it. Okay, so that is a really, really good show. Now, finally, I'll tell you, I was watching this YouTube short and I saw this one video of these two guys, and I think they have a K-drama podcast. I'm going to look it up because I really liked. They were discussing their top 5 K-dramas. Here are the 5 that they gave, and I actually haven't yet watched any of these, although several of them are on my list. Some of them I had not heard of. So tell me what you all think. Do you agree with these as being the top 5 K-dramas? Yes or no? And if you do not agree, I want to hear from you. What are your recommendations? Because I am always on the lookout for recommendations. So these are their top 5. Number 5, Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha. 4, Queen of Tears. 3, King the Land. 2, Descendants of the Sun. And 1, The K2. Okay, yes or no? Please let me know at Doris Golf Club. I want to hear from you. I need recommendations too. I'm handing you recommendations. I need to hear back. I need some more recommendations. I think that that's enough for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Now, be on the lookout later this week on Thursday. I'll have my motivational minute where I let you all know how my challenge to myself went this week. And I'm going to set another challenge to myself for the following week. I hope you all are following along. And then on Friday, I'm going to have another bonus episode because I'm going to be talking about teams Australia and Thailand. All right, be sure to stay in touch at Doris Golf Club. Until next time, bye.